be followed by Brian Whittle. Ms Hockey, please.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Scotland is no different from any other country across the world in that our young people and children are living increasingly complex lives. Sadly, many experience bullying and stresses at school, whilst others may be facing a multitude of problems at home, such as poverty or abuse. These are pressures which have existed for generations. However, with the increase in the usage of social media and with people's lives now being shared online, such problems can be amplified and are harder to escape from. Helping our children and young people cope with these pressures is of paramount importance, and schools can play a leading role in supporting them through the teaching of PSE. Presiding Officer, alongside the formal evidence sessions and focus groups held, the Education and Skills Committee also asked the public, what should personal and social education sessions be about? And how should it be delivered? And the response the committee received from pupils, as mentioned by James Dornan, on social media and by email was overwhelming. And the committee is incredibly clear that pupils find good quality PSE as being invaluable to them. It was evident that there are particular subjects which should be taught in PSE, including sex and relationships education, inclusivity, drug and alcohol misuse, financial planning, and learning and talking about mental health. Sex and relationship education, the core issue the committee concludes should be taught in PSE, is one which must go further than merely talking about biology, but by properly discussing sex and relationships. And the committee took evidence from various organisations and charities who were of the opinion that at school there is a real lack of teaching about consent and of the diversity of relationships, including that of LGBTI relationships. Shockingly, the committee received evidence that some LGBTI young people's sex education was learned online due to a lack of adequate provision from within their schools. Nonetheless, across Scotland, there are many positive and innovative examples of how PSE is taught in our schools, and there are several which could be looked at as models for best practice. I was delighted to learn that Cathkin High School in my own constituency of Rutherglen have an incredibly varied and thorough PSE programme, teaching about relationships and sexual health in their PSE classes from 2nd through to 4th year. Trinity High School, again in my constituency, has worked with external organisations during PSE lessons. Excuse me. For example, police and fire service personnel come to these classes to allow pupils to learn what's happening outside of the school environment, and this ensures that their PSE reflects and is tailored to the real world. Drawing on the expertise of those outside of teaching provides another perspective on life and equips students with the skills and information they need to thrive. This was one of the committee's recommendations which the Cabinet Secretary agreed with in their response to the report, that PSE should be used to involve external contributors with their relevant specialism. So I was particularly pleased to hear that this is already happening in South Lanarkshire schools. But unfortunately, there are schools across Scotland whose delivery of the subject is not to such a high standard as others. And one of the main issues found throughout the report was the lack of consistency and effectiveness in PSE delivery. An issue which was also highlighted by the Session 4 Health and Sport Committee and the current Equalities and Human Rights Committees. Presiding Officer, although PSE is not mandatory, there are statutory requirements in relation to health and equalities, but the committee is concerned that the importance placed on health and wellbeing is not borne out in all schools across the board. Through Curriculum for Excellence, health and wellbeing is spread across the curriculum, and it's one of the 3 core areas that are the responsibility of all staff in the school, with the other 2 being literacy and numeracy. Despite this aim from central government, and given the fact that the Schools Health Promotion and Nutrition Scotland Act 2007 places a duty on all schools to be health promoting, the committee found that this was not always the case at local level. This health promoting duty includes mental health. However, this was one of the areas that respondents persuasively reported is not sufficiently included in PSE. The Scottish Youth Parliament's submission to the committee on this topic said that young people have told them that there's not enough focus on mental health. Their research, to which almost 1,500 young people contributed, also found that the quality of education on mental health and wellbeing is varied across the country. SAMH estimates that 3 pupils in every classroom will have experienced a mental health issue by the time they're aged 16, whilst the World Health Organization has found that up to 20% of children and adolescents across the world suffer a mental illness in any given year. And who do many of these children and young people turn to for help? Their class teachers and their guidance teachers. Young people want to learn and to talk about sex and relationships, alcohol and drug misuse and mental health issues in an atmosphere where they feel safe and supported. So we should give them this opportunity at school and during PSE. Schools are vital settings for promoting positive well-being, challenging mental health stigma and tackling bi, trans and homophobia. So I hope key stakeholders across Scotland note the conclusions and recommendations made by the committee's report. The committee was clear. PSE in its current form is too inconsistent, and I'm pleased that the government has committed to reviewing it within the new mental health strategy. I have confidence in the Scottish Government to complete this review in the near future to ensure that all schools across Scotland teach good quality PSE for the benefit of all their pupils.
Thank you very much, Ms Hawkey. I call Brian Whittle to be followed by Gail Ross.